So today I'm looking at resistance training. What I mean by that is that when I'm doing shadow boxing, sort of cardiovascular workouts, throwing hundreds and hundreds or thousands of punches, is holding onto some weights. So rather than just being free hand, open hand, you're holding dumbbells and you're holding onto those weights while you're throwing the punches and offering a resistance for your grip, for your arms, but also for the shoulder, because you're having to keep your arms up. It helps you to hold your arms higher because you get tired. You want to drop your arms down. So straight away I was thought with the looking through a few different examples of training. There's a few people that don't like it. There's quite a few that do. I put a search in on a search engine for shadow boxing with weights, and straight away the people that it brought up from the boxing world that use dumbbells, or the ones that you're going to see today as a training method. I've got Canelo, I've got Mayweather, I've got Golovkin, and I've got Vladimir Klitschko. There are four people straight away that came up for people that there's examples of photos of them using these dumbbells that I'll show in a little while, of using this type of method to train with. So the idea is just having that extra resistance in your hands. So rather than your shadow boxing, it offers an extra element of resistance because you're having to hold that weight up, and increasing your grip strength, your overall sort of shoulder arm strength, and your punching strength, because as you're pushing through, you're having to hold onto that weight as well, not just letting it sort of fly with your arm weight. The examples where people don't like it, and I'll be honest about those ones as well. I do really like it. They tend to feel it's more from martial artists. They feel that holding onto that weight makes it a little bit too tight, a bit too rigid. So when you're throwing a punch, you're not really loose and relaxed and letting your arm sort of flick out. You're constantly having to, under the strain of holding that dumbbell, you're already tense as you rotate and throw that punch. So I get that. I get that it may do something regards to flexibility, but certainly the people that I can see here, and the names I've just mentioned there from the boxing world, they're the best of the best, and have been so for many, many years, and dominating in their divisions. And I'll have to take a further look now at the sort of training methods that I do and the workout that I do, so it's something that you can consider for your training as well. So here I am in my gym at home today. I'm just going to show you a few different examples of the dumbbells I use when I'm talking about resistance training. It's shadow boxing, but using small, medium sort of weight as well, dumbbells for use to offer resistance, to build up the shoulders, the arms and the forearms in the grip. Having to hold on to these while you're doing a workout and throwing out hundreds or even thousands of punches, which I'll detail later in the workout that I do. But this first type, this is York. Obviously they come in various different types of manufacture and weight. This is a 3 kilogram one, and this is coated in vinyl, which is okay. This is the one that I don't use on a regular basis, but I still have it as a bit of a backup. The way that they're molded, they have a sort of a seal line that you can see there, which is quite useful if you want to use that to sort of grip with. I tend to put my fingers on those areas there, and you can help you grip the weight. But the vinyl, they can become a little bit slippery during your workout. If you're getting a bit sweaty or a bit hot and you're not wearing gloves and you're just bare hand, they can slip around a little bit, but still they're useful. But that's the kind of thing I'm sort of holding and the weight that I'm using. So move on to this set. Now these ones, I use these all the time. This is the sort of main go-to that I have. This turns out to be USA Pro's 2.5 kilogram. Same again where the mold is. There's a sort of a mold line, a seal line, which I tend to use for a grip area, which is very useful. It's similar sort of size to the York. My hand just about fits in those, which is something I'll explain in a little while. But they're quite useful. Now this type is a sort of a neoprene covering. So whereas the vinyl get quite slippy, this type, the neoprene, when you push into it, it's got a little bit of give. It's a bit spongy, and I tend to find that there is a sort of a slight texture to the surface, and that in itself helps with the grip. So when you're holding onto the dumbbell, it actually feels sort of textured. So when your hands do get a bit slippery, or you're doing the workout, they don't tend to rotate or roll in your hand, and they pretty much stay put where you've been working out. And throwing those punches, you don't want to lose grip of the dumbbell and it flies across your gym or wherever you're training and does some damage. So those are the ones that I go to all the time. I've used these, thrown thousands and thousands of punches holding these. They're a little bit battered and a little bit worse for wear, starting to show signs of wear. But I've had those for quite a few years and they've lasted very well. The last type I'm going to show you, they tend to be described as bone dumbbells, and obviously you can see there from the shape of them. Now there's a good reason for these, and these ones are 3 kilograms, and again it's a neoprene covering, so it's a nice sort of textured grip. So when you're holding onto it or you're getting a bit hot in the workout, I've never sort of felt as if I was going to let go of those. But there's a good reason for having that kind of shape instead of this kind of shape. But it's dependent on personal use, but personal choice for me. Now I have very large hands. My hand width across is about 11 centimeters. Now if I just show you roughly the tape I've got here, that set, you're looking at around 10. That's quite close. These are the ones that I use more often. Again, they're around 10 centimeters, but they are quite comfortable to use. But obviously if I get 10 centimeters and put that on this dumbbell here, as you can see, being the bone design, they're open-ended. So there's no restriction when you're holding onto that. There's no feeling as if you're going to slip or lose grip of that at the top when you're throwing a punch, because there's no kind of restriction. To start with, when I was using these ones, I used to get top of my thumb blistered quite badly, because as you're holding that weight, and naturally gravity pulls that weight down on that corner there where the dumbbell sort of rubs against your thumb, and you're throwing and twisting the weight. My hand only just about fits onto there. Obviously my hand's got a very large hand. It only just about fits onto that dumbbell, so there was some sort of rubbing, but over time I just think my skin has just got so used to it that I don't blister anymore. But certainly if you're just starting out and using dumbbells for resistance training, then possibly look at some sort of design like this with a bone design that's open-ended, so there's no sort of restriction or any wear and tear on your hand as you're holding that dumbbell. And you can use that quite freely. And obviously they vary in weight. 3 kilos, could be 2.5, could be 2 kilos, or even less than that. Depends where you start out. But that's just a brief overview of the dumbbells that I use. But generally speaking, these are my go-to, the hexagonals, USA Pro 2.5 kilograms. And I'll explain in detail now what I do with those for the resistance training workout. So just to explain briefly what these the punches are, using these as resistance training. These are the USA Pro 2.5 kilograms. So a normal boxing position on southpaw stance. So straight, or a set of straight, is the jab followed by the cross. That is 1. So 2 punches makes 1. So 40 punches is the 20. The uppercuts again, uppercut, and then the reverse. That would be 1, 40 more punches. And then the hooks, again, bringing those round, 2 punches, it would just be 1 set, just the lead arm and the rear. That would be one set, so 20 sets, 40 punches. Each of those, that takes about a minute to do, repeat 3 times over. So let's look at some stats for the resistance training. The rounds, obviously, is 12 times 3-minute rounds with a 1 minute active rest in between each of those 12 rounds. So the formations that I showed you there on that demonstration was 20 times 3 sets, straights, uppercuts and hooks, which basically translates to 40 punches per set. So each minute I'm throwing 120 punches. Timed it up by 3, because obviously taking those minutes into 3-minute rounds, which means per 3-minute round I am throwing 360 punches, and that over 12 rounds equates to 4,320 punches per workout. So what does that mean that I'm actually punching? So I've punched 4,320 punches, holding 2.5 kilograms in each hand in this instance, which means I've thrown 10,800 kilograms. And then the star jumps or jumping jacks, depends how you describe them. I'll do 30 at the end of each round, 30 per active rest. So I'll do that 11 times, which 30 times 11, 330 jumping jacks. And the last round I do 120. It's basically when I started doing that, I did 10 per round. So that came to 120, which means the total is 450 per round.
you.